film begins with a nightmare. The city is destroyed, everything is in flames, and people are fleeing. Soldiers try to shoot back. Attack helicopters prepare to strike. But what has caused it? There's a giant spider hanging from the skyscraper. It's destroying everything around it. But where did it come from? This is the Movie Girl channel. Subscribe so you don't get lost. 12 hours earlier, an exterminator called Alex arrives for a routine job. Mrs. Jefferson throws herself into his arms. He's finally going to rid her of those pesky mice. Alex is happy to help and assembles the mousetraps. And as a reward, he gets something special. Instead of money, the woman wants to treat him to a cake, but then she notices something. There's a spider on the man's arm. Alex immediately realizes that it's poisonous. Mrs. Jefferson rushes to help and gives him a good whack with her slipper. In the next shot, a black body bag is being carried into the morgue. Is that a dead body? Alex asks. He sits in a doctor's office in the next room. A nurse examines the spider bite. He just needs an injection to ease the inflammation. So, no superpowers. Alex decides to ask the hottie out on a date. But she realizes that the guy in the dirty robe is just an exterminator, so she turns him down. Meanwhile, something strange happens at the morgue. A body bag begins to move. A huge spider crawls out of it, and the pathologist falls victim to it. A fire alarm goes off in the hospital. The pathologist set it off. He mumbles something about being bitten by a giant black thing, but the chief doesn't believe him. Then Alex intervenes. I think it's a spider. He wants to show off for the nurse, so he volunteers to inspect the cellar. But he soon regrets it. There is something disgusting in the body bag. The remains are gnawed and cobwebbed. It looks as if a spider has eaten the victim from the inside out. Alex is preparing for battle with the man-eating spider. He has a special recipe of acid in his sprayer. If I were a spider, where would I hide? Looks like the spider has already crawled into the vent. Alex has waited his whole life for the real thing. To save the people, he's ready to go into the vent after the spider, and security guard Jose will guide him on the walkie-talkie. Meanwhile, the men in black burst into the hospital. They already know it's serious. A major from the special forces is here because of a contaminated corpse. He rushes to the morgue. The spider was here. The hospital has to be closed immediately. This is the pathologist's station. Suddenly, the air vent opens. The patient realizes that a giant spider has entered the room. The pathologist tries to call for help, but the spider is already under the ceiling. It attacks its prey. Soon, the pulse stops. Alex realizes that he's not alone in the room. Around the corner, he finds another spider's web, and then the torch goes out. A flick of the lighter and the cobwebs go up in flames, but the way is clear. Alex gets out. The nurse reports that the bite victim is dead. The military examines the remains with a scientist. Judging by the bites, the spider has grown to 3 times its size. In 24 hours? So it's growing by 25% every 2 hours. Alex found a spider web in the cellar. A soldier heard it on the radio. The spider creeps up on the guy from behind, but then shots ring out. The girl saves him. The two lunge at the insect, but the spider escapes into the drain. Lieutenant Brooke blames Alex's clumsiness, and the spider has grown so big in the sewer that it traps a homeless man in its web. The exterminator is brought to the major. Alex gives a full report on the spider, and the scientist is convinced that it's already in stage 2. In stage 3, the spider will go on a rampage. Alex wants to know what's going on. Lieutenant Brooks admits that the spider is their fault and needs to be fixed immediately. And Alex holds out his card, Bug Killer. But this only impresses the guard. Jose convinces Alex that he needs to prove himself, and Jose will help him, like Sancho Panza. First they have to find the spider. The military has to prevent information from leaking out. But the spider is already on the news. It's huge, and it's walking the streets of Los Angeles. Only a miracle can help. A spider's lair has been found near the scene of a news report. About 30 people were found inside the cocoons, no survivors. The spider has already molted, which means it has grown in size. Alex realizes that the spider will build a hideout near the river, but he only finds a detachment of the army there. A spider that size is always hungry, so it'll go hunting in a crowded place, and there's a park nearby. Girls playing volleyball, people jogging, and this is where the spider starts to hunt. But the military sees the spider from a drone. The exterminator's car is stopped by the police. Alex warns them that there's danger in the park, but they don't listen. Then he tries to pay a $12 bribe. The cop isn't impressed. The radio announces an emergency in the park, and the policeman leaves with the $12. Meanwhile, the spider goes on a rampage. He grabs people one by one. The spider has a special fondness for juicy volleyball players. And then he spots a child. Alex arrived just in time. The spider is distracted by a brightly colored car. Jose shoots back, but the bullets bounce off the giant shell. The lieutenant calls Alex to warn him of the ambush. A crowd of armed men has blocked the spider's path, and the car is trapped between them. Open fire! The spider takes a beating, and the car is riddled with bullets. But our heroes have managed to take cover. The spider uses the car as a shield, and then throws it at the soldiers. Taking advantage of the confusion, the spider makes a giant leap into the forest. Lieutenant Brooks reprimands Alex. Was she really worried? The major wants to give the spider a final battle in the forest. The scientist has brought thermonuclear grenades that can tear the spider's shell apart. To epic music, the military rushes in, but Alex warns the girl, the forest is like the spider's home. A handful of humans can't defeat the ultimate hunter. But why didn't she listen? The special operation is underway. In the forest, the spider is killing the soldiers one by one. The lieutenant is in danger. The girl is trapped in a spider's web, as is her partner. Then an arachnid appears. It eats the poor guy, and the girl is next. The lieutenant calls for reinforcements, but the commander advises them to lure the spider closer and sacrifice themselves. That's when Alex arrives. He cuts the web with a hot blade. The girl is free, but the spider has discovered her. Jose covers the couple and lets them escape. The girl is the last to run, and the spider shoots the web at her. He wraps the pretty girl in a cocoon and drags her into the forest. Alex convinces the command to save the beauty. But the major is afraid of more casualties. He believes the girl is already dead. The doctor reveals that the spider is alien genetic material from an extraterrestrial species. An alien? The doctor has just tested the DNA of fossils from Mars. He was going to feed humanity with giant tomatoes. But a spider got on the plant. The key is to keep the spider out of stage 5. Soon it will reproduce, and the whole world will be overrun with spiders. And then there's a TV report about a spider destroying Los Angeles. It climbs up a skyscraper and makes a nest. It's about to lay eggs. The major orders an airstrike, but thousands of innocent people in the center of the city could die. The helicopter arrives at the site of the attack. But inside the nest, a human silhouette can be seen. It's Lieutenant Brent. She's breathing. Alex decides to save her and takes the major's car. He plans to kill the spider, save the city, and then kiss the pretty girl. The plan is good, but how do you kill the spider? You can't shoot it. Its shell is too strong. It's also resistant to fire and heat. But its web burns well, so you can set fire to its glands through the back passage. The skyscraper is covered in cobwebs. Lieutenant Brent opens her eyes, and that's when the maggots start hatching. Alex's car is hit by debris. He wakes up in the middle of the apocalypse. The city is destroyed. Everything is on fire, and people are fleeing. There's a giant spider hanging from a skyscraper, but the exterminator is there. He's armed to the teeth. Alex sneaks into the building and takes the lift to the spider's nest. But there are still 3 minutes to go before the explosion. Jose rushes in to free the hostages, and Alex rescues a smoking hot girl from the spider's web. Twice in one day is too much, and then the spiders rush at him, but the exterminator deftly stomps on them. The lieutenant shoots the spider from behind, but 100 more spiders are on their way. Fortunately, the heroes make it to the lift just in time. Fighter jets start an air attack. The monster is blown off the skyscraper and falls to the ground. The giant is defeated and lies on the pavement. On the phone, the major thanks Alex for saving the hostages, but something has gone wrong. The spider has come back to life. But Alex lives to kill, and this hottie has got his back. All that's left to do is fire a bazooka into a black hole. The dream team gets close to the monster, dodging 8 nasty legs. Alex is in position and fires a projectile straight into the bullseye. Boom! The spider didn't see it coming, and it is torn to shreds. Alex has killed the spider and saved the town. Now all that's left is to kiss the pretty girl and subscribe to the channel to make me happy.